Okay, today we will be seeing what is a Carnot cycle and how to derive the air standard efficiency for a Carnot cycle. Carnot cycle is a theoretical thermodynamic cycle proposed by Leonard Carnot, and this cycle gives the maximum possible efficiency for a heat engine working between two temperature sources. And the Carnot cycle can be explained with the help of a pressure volume chart, and now we will see how to draw this PV diagram for a Carnot cycle. The x-axis is the volume and the y-axis is the pressure. Before drawing the PV diagram for a Carnot cycle, it can be explained with the help of a piston cylinder arrangement. So I am drawing a cylinder which is fitted with a frictionless piston. Let's say that it is at a state 1 initially. Now at state 1, let the pressure, volume and temperature of the system be P1, B1 and T1, and this state is correspondingly be marked in the, you can mark it in the PV diagram. Initially, the cylinder is fitted with a frictionless piston and it is in a state 1 with a pressure P1, volume V1 and temperature T1, and to this system we are bringing a external hot body and the heat is applied to the air inside the cylinder at constant temperature. That is, the first process is an isothermal process in which the air expands inside the cylinder at constant temperature till it reaches a state 2. Let us say that this will be the stage 2, and right now the piston cylinder arrangement is in this position, and we can draw that process 1 to 3 in the PV chart as follows. I am just extending that line. Now this vertical line is the state 1 and this vertical line is state 2, and it's an isothermal process, that is a constant temperature process in which there is expansion taking place, so the volume increases and the pressure decreases. So let this be the process 1 to 2, that is isothermal expansion process. Then from state 2, the piston is allowed to expand adiabatically till it reaches a state 3. Now from 2 to 3, the piston further expands adiabatically, and this can be marked in the diagram as follows. Further, there is an increase in volume with decrease in pressure, but the process is adiabatic. That is, adiabatic means heat transfer is 0. This is a adiabatic expansion process. And after stage 3, then a cold body is brought near to this system, and the system starts rejecting heat to the cold body again isothermally. Still it reaches a state 4. So let us assume this is the state 4. So the piston cylinder will be moving towards the left side by compressing the air inside the cylinder, and here the heat is rejected isothermally. So that can be stage 4. So this is the stage 4, and point 4 can be marked. Here the air is compressed, so the volume increases and the volume decreases and the pressure increases. So this is, that will be point 4, and 3 to 4 can be marked like this in the PV diagram. And then again 4 to 1 is an adiabatic compression process, that is 1 to 4. Here 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 1. 1 to 3 is isothermal expansion, then adiabatic expansion, then 3 to 4 it is isothermal thermal compression, and again 4 to 1. This is adiabatic compression. So these are the 4 processes in a Carnot cycle. That is 1 to 2 is an isothermal expansion process, 2 to 3 is adiabatic expansion, 3 to 4 is isothermal compression, and 4 to 1 is adiabatic compression process. Now we can see how to derive the air standard efficiency of a Carnot cycle. Okay, so for that I am erasing this diagram. First of all, we will consider the adiabatic process 2 to 3. That is 2 to 3 adiabatic process. It is an adiabatic expansion process where the volume gets increased. So the ratio of volume, that is V3 by V2, will be equal to T2 by T3 all raised to 1 by gamma minus 1. This is the temperature volume relationship for a adiabatic process, which we have already discussed in earlier lectures. And let it be equation 1. And now for adiabatic compression process, four to one. Adiabatic compression process 4 to 1. Again, writing equation, that is V4 by V1 will be equal to, it's inversely proportional to, it will be T1 by T4 all raised to 1 by gamma minus 1. And let it be equation 2. So gamma is the adiabatic index. Now, the process 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 are isothermal. That means the temperatures are same. So from erasing equation 1, process 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 are isothermal. That means T1 will be equal to T2 and T3 will be equal to T4. That is constant temperature process 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. So I am substituting these values in equation 2. I will get equation 2 will be V4 by V1 is equal to, instead of T1 I will substitute T2, and instead of T4 I will substituting T3 all raised to 1 by gamma minus 1, and I am taking this as equation 3. Now when you consider or compare the equation 1 with equation 3, the right hand side is the same. That is, in both equations it is T2 by T3. So here, since the RHS are same, the LHS should also be same. So from equation 1 and equation 3, V4 by V1 is equal to V3 by V2. That is, for equation 1 and equation 3, the right hand side is the same. So the left hand side should also be same. So when I rearrange this equation, I can write as V2 by V1 is equal to V3 by V4, and we need this expression later. So I am giving this as equation 4. Okay, that is ratio of volume for process 1 to 3 is same as the volume ratios for process 3 to 4. Okay, that is equation 4. Now I am not going to arrange this equation because if we need further, I am just drawing a border line here and I am erasing all other terms. Okay, now we made this equation by considering the two adiabatic processes. Now we are going to compare the two isothermal process. That is, equation 1 to 2 is the isothermal heat supply process. So heat supplied during isothermal process 1 to 2. Yeah, 1 to 2 is the process in which heat is supplied to the system. So I am representing Q1 to 2. That is the heat supplied during the process 1 to 2, and it is written as V1 log V2 by V1, and I am giving it as equation 4. And the heat is rejected during the isothermal process 3 to 4. So heat rejected during isothermal process 3 to 4. This can be written as Q 3 to 4 is equal to V3 log V3 by V4. That is equation 6. Now comes the importance of equation 4. From equation 4, V3 by V4 is same as V2 by V1. So I can replace this term by V2 by V1. Okay. So now I am erasing this. Here V3 by V4 can be replaced by V2 by V1. So from equation 4, Q 3 to 4 is equal to V3 log V2 by V1, and writing as equation 7. Okay. Now we have all the equations. Now we can derive the efficiency for a condenser. Their standard efficiency divided by E2, given by notation eta, is equal to work done by heat supply to the system. So generally the efficiency will be output by input. So here the work done by system is the output and heat supplied to the system is the input. So this can again be written as, therefore eta is equal to heat supplied minus heat rejected. That is equation 4, work done, whole divided by heat supply. Okay, that is equation 4 eta. Okay, now the heat supplied was given by equation 5 and heat rejected is given by equation 7. Now we can substitute those equations in the expression for efficiency. That is, heat supplied is given by V1 log V2 by V1 minus heat rejected is here, that is V3 log V2 by V1 whole divided by, again heat supplied is V1 log V2 by V1. So now we have to rearrange terms. That is, here the P1, V1, P3 and P1, V1 are unknown for us. So I am replacing using that with MRT1. We all know that PV is equal to MRT. You know this gas equation. So I am substituting this in the above expression. I will get V1 can be written as M or T1. Since M in R is a constant, the only variable will be temperature T1. Then log of V2 by V1 minus T3 can be written as M R T3 log of V2 by V1 whole divided by, again T1 V1 can be written as M R T1 log of V2 by V1. So the expression will be like this. Now I am rearranging the common terms. So here the common terms will be M R into log of V2 by V1, and so here the only variable that is remaining is T1 minus, here the only variable remaining is T3 whole divided by, here also M R log of V2 by V1 into T1 is the remaining variable. So I am cancelling the common terms, that is MR log V2 by V1 and MR log V2 by V1 can be taken out. The remaining expression will be T1 minus T3 whole divided by T1. Okay. So I can again rewrite it as rewrite the expression as theta is equal to, that is T1 minus T3 by T1. This can be written as 1 minus T3 by T1. Okay. T1 by T1 will be 1 and minus T3 by T1. Okay. Now this is the expression for the standard efficiency for a Carnot cycle. That is, efficiency of a Carnot cycle will be equal to 1 minus temperature of cold body divided by temperature of hot body. This is a general expression for a Carnot cycle. So, a heat engine working between two temperature sources, then it will depend on the temperature of the hot body and cold body, and this cycle gives the maximum possible efficiency for any heat engine, and this is the Carnot theorem as well. So, since we are saying this is the maximum possible efficiency, and this cycle is practically not possible also. This is because for a process to happen isothermally, that is, for a process to take place at constant temperature, the process should be extremely slow. That is, without a temperature difference, a process should happen. So it should be an extremely slow process. And the 2 to 3 process stated by Carnot is an adiabatic process. And for adiabatic process to take place, it must be an extremely fast process. That is, the process should take place without any heat transfer to the surroundings. So it should be an extremely fast process. Likewise, the 3 to 4 is an isothermal compression process. So it should be an extremely slow process. And 4 to 1 is an adiabatic compression process. So it should be extremely fast process. So here each process is an extremely slow or fast. So alternatively, we cannot achieve this slow and fast process in a one cycle. That is why we are saying Carnot cycle is practically impossible. And once again, Carnot cycle means it is a cycle that gives the maximum possible efficiency for a heat engine.